Hi, if we haven't met yet, my name is Ladijia. I'm a career coach, recruiter, and HR consultant. I help mid to senior level professionals find high paying jobs and facilitate their career growth. And this is my Career Drive Live. It's a weekly live broadcast I host every Thursday at noon, talking about various things around job search and career growth. Today, I'm going to be talking about remote work opportunities for mid to senior level professionals. By the way, I'd actually done a live of this earlier, but we had technical glitches, so I'm kind of re-recording it. If you're watching on Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, please like and comment. Also, if you have questions, feel free to type in your questions into the comment boxes. I always go back and I will answer. All right. So, to the matter of today, remote working. Now, remote working has gained much wider acceptance and popularity post COVID. I mean, during and post COVID for obvious reasons. But even before that, it's been a way of life. For instance, I have kind of worked semi remotely. I kind of worked semi remotely for more than 5 years, right, in Lagos before I now moved to full. In the last 3 years, I've done fully remote work. But before that, I've been working semi remotely for a while. I have worked for clients from all over the world: the US, the UK, South Africa, Canada, Kenya, Ghana, you whatever location you name it. I have clients that I've worked for who I have never met other than from online um, interactions. So way before it became really popular, I was already quite comfortable with it, and I knew people who were already working remotely, as well. These days, I mean, my main reason for making this video is that in the recent past, I've received a lot of inquiries from people. Oh, Ladi, I'd like to, take advantage of working abroad and earning in dollars while I'm here, right? Um, People have three main reasons why so I decided to do this video. I mean, three main reasons I've heard why people want to learn more about working remotely. Some want to increase their earning power and get paid in dollars. Others want to access opportunities in industries and spaces, where that are not readily available in their own market, but much more mature in other markets. Others just are using this remote working experience as a preparation path to relocating. They want to be able to say, well, I've worked for so and so place in your country before I moved here, as a way of getting referrals. Whatever the reason is, right? I It's important to know that one, it's possible, it's there, it's available to you, and you can do it. Absolutely. You don't have to, yes, by far the biggest roles in demand, in the remote working space are tech based roles, but you don't have to be a developer or a core techie before you can work remotely. Far from it. There are some roles that have, traditionally been, remote without necessarily requiring any advanced tech skills. For instance, virtual assistant. The virtual assistant industry is in maturity. It's been there for years and years. You have huge platforms catering strictly to, providing virtual assistant services. Virtual assistants do, it's like having an executive assistant. They carry out various tasks for people, everything from administrative tasks to sometimes marketing tasks, writing tasks. There are various types of any kind of support a business owner or a professional needs, virtual assistants provide, and the opportunities are there. So don't let your being a non-techie limit you. And if you have, core tech skills or digital marketing skills, then I mean, what are you doing? You should be working remotely by now, right? So, in this talk, I'm going to address a few things. One is, what are the approaches to remote work? Two is, where and how do you find this work? And three is, what skills do you need, right, um, to thrive, to succeed as a remote worker? All right. So let me go to the next topic. The next subtopic, which is approaches to remote work. Now, there are two approaches to remote work. You can either sell your skills, right? Or you can actually then go out and get a full-time, job just that you're working remotely. Now, in terms of selling skills, and something that we all as professionals should bear in mind is that increasingly in our world today, right, things are employers are hiring for skills much more so than say experience in a particular career path, right? There are skills that you hone that are like your meal ticket, your key, right, to earnings. Many top skills, aside from tech skills are in huge demand, but there are several other skills. For instance, if you're selling your skills, what you're doing is you're selling your expertise in the use of a certain type of skill or in or performing specific tasks. Some examples, I did a quick scan of the most popular remote job boards. Some examples include bookkeeping, doing your taxes, financial analysis for digital marketers, search engine optimization, content development, web development. Then you have even basic things like data entry. You have remote customer support, remote IT support, etc. Right? um, if you log on to any of these platforms, you will find that they have them in categories. So you have your project categories, you have your web and data categories, financial, HR, admin, customer support, and sales. Those are the broad categories. And then when you click on each of those things, you will see, a whole range of skills and services that people are offering, right? Short term. So the whole dynamic around this is gig based, right? It's they're short term interim assignments, um, projects that you start and end to deliver specific deliverables. Now, some top platforms where you can find opportunities like this are Upwork, Fiverr, Freelancer. Those are the three ones that come to the top of my mind, right? And these platforms are used by people all over. When I say all over the world, all over the world. I particularly searched for Nigeria, right? And on a couple of these platforms, I saw Nigerians who have been there, who have been working. In fact, I saw one chap, and I was amazed by young chap, probably mid 20s or something, a really young person. He offers content development, writing, right? And he's in, I think, Obomosho. Imagine that. And he's earning and has been earning regularly from the platform. Go to Nairaland and do a search. You see loads of people sharing their experiences about working remotely for employers abroad. So if it's thriving, you can take advantage of it. Then you look at the remote jobs. That is, you're looking for you're not doing gigs, multiple gigs. You're looking for a proper job. There's also um, top platforms catering to that as well. And typically they're full time. Sometimes it's contract work, right? Hired remotely. Top sites where you can find opportunities for that. Flex jobs, LinkedIn, Indeed, remotework.ng, which also highlights opportunities in Nigeria for remote work, right? But there's a whole list of them, and I'll share. There's a whole list of these websites. There are quite a few of them, and I'll share some links under this video. All right. So, in general, I would say go to these sites and look for yourself. Self. You'll be amazed to see people offering skills that you already have, right? From a report recently provided by Adeco in March this year, the top 5 in demand remote jobs are tech experts, obviously, graphic designers, especially those who understand user interfaces and user experience, customer service people, project managers, online trainers, um, and then, of course, I've mentioned virtual assistants. The opportunities are not limited to these categories at all, but these are the top most frequently recurring. So the opportunities are there. Go out and explore. So let's dive in depth a bit more. Right. So sorry, let me move to the next one. Where and how to find um, remote work. So I've mentioned a couple of the websites, but things to bear in mind, because I've also heard, as much as I'm seeing people who are doing this and killing it, I've also heard it doesn't really work. I put my profile up there, nobody has given me work recently. That's because even in putting up your profile, you have to pay attention, right, to making. So here's the thing, this is all being done remotely online. These people have not met you, right? On top of which, you're probably not from a country that they are used to dealing with. So there's the whole thing about distrust, but there's also this thing about being able to see proof that this person will not disappoint me, right? And so, in putting together your profile, you must pay attention to that and kind of anticipate and answer their question. The fastest way to do this is to get referrals, right? But if you haven't actually done the work before, then that might be a bit of a challenge. So let's look at various ways in which you can quickly build. Remember that thing about people work with people they know, like, and trust. How can you build know, like, and trust online enough to get a steady stream of work? So let's talk about that. Now, when it comes to tech skills, because those ones you either can or you cannot, right? You can, provide. If I'm a developer, I can show you my portfolio of stuff I've developed. I can show you my GitHub or whatever. Those are easier to validate and to verify. For graphics people, the same thing to essentially, if you can present a portfolio of your work, that is samples or examples of work done, or if you can get a client or two, right, who have used your services or who you have worked with to give you referrals and or testimonials, that helps hugely. The biggest winning tool for online work, I mean, for getting online work, is third party proof. Very important, which is why having your LinkedIn up to date with your, third party proof in view is important. If you can create an online profile, an online website where you showcase your work, that's important. In creating your profile on the job boards and on the platforms themselves, what I always say to people is, before you create your profile, look in the category where you want to compete. Look at the top performers there. What do their profiles say? What kind of feedback are their own customers giving that they say they admire the most about them? How do they prove their skill? You take that and you adapt it to reflect your own experience, your own skills, and you bring your own proof, right? Don't just go and put a bland profile there. Another method to accelerate your acceptance in that space is to look for specialist job boards. So some of the job boards I've mentioned so far, they're general, and it's not that they don't work, they do, right? um for instance, I have been found on LinkedIn for work. People have searched and found my website and reached out to me for work. So it's not that it doesn't work, but we are saying, how do we make it faster and easier? Look for the more the more specialist that job board is, the easier it is for you, to get an opportunity. Because, for instance, there's a difference between going to Indeed, which when I looked this morning had about 255 remote working opportunities under when I did a search for Nigeria. So there are opportunities there, right? But Indeed serves so many people and there are so many options versus let's say I'm a technical writer and I go to a job board that just provides technical writers. You will find that I will be pushed up, I'll be more visible more quickly. So you need to find the specialist boards that cater to people that provide that service you want to provide or serve the industry that you want to serve, right? The more specific, the better. As I said, I'll provide a list of links at the end. The other thing you need to do is to find your communities that you have affinity to. Let me explain. So, if for developers you have GitHub and you have other developer communities, right, and even built up around both we're helping each other professionally, or this is a job but that caters for say only Java developers, as an example. You have them, but you have them for other professionals. For HR, you have them. You have them on LinkedIn. You have them on Facebook. You have them on Reddit, right? Find where people doing the same thing and helping each other. That's the fantastic thing about the online culture, right? The openness of learning, the willingness to share resources and to collaborate can't be overstated. I found all sorts. The other day, I found a whole community built around making your writing, your online writing, much, much clearer. In fact, I'm joining a challenge they are doing. And it's a huge community, free resources. You just go there and you participate in the thing. You post your writing, people give you feedback, you give others feedback. That way, so find your community, join, interact, participate. That way, people in that space are getting to know you for one. That way, you can ask, you now have, a whole pool of people you can ask questions to navigate your way, and then people actually find opportunities for work from there as well. So very important, find your community, join it, and participate. It really helps you, positions you to access the right referrals. Then the other thing that is very important and kind of related to the step one, which I said was step one was hone your profile. Step two, join an affinity community. Step three is connect to people you want to work for. Some people want to work for specific companies doing specific things. Connect with them, follow them. But I think for me, a more regular use or a more practical use of this is find the profile of who you want to be. People who are doing what you want to do already and doing it well, right? Reach out, connect, follow, comment. You can even reach out, and people are always willing to help. You just have to know how to do it. You can even reach out and say, listen, I'm looking to work in this same area. I'm fascinated by the work you've done there. I'd really like, to ask you a few questions. And then you go ahead and do an informational. Ask them how they went about it. If you look at their profiles and at the stories they share, it will give you an indication. But you can actually get people who will guide you, who will talk you through, oh, this is how I did it, and this is how I went about it. So it's informational interviews are very, very useful. Then I've spoken about researching your niche, job boards for your niche. The more narrow you can make it, the better. For instance, if you decide that, oh, I want to become a technical writer for the medical space, look for a job board that has jobs for content writers for the medical space. You get a lot of resources and help, and you grow faster that way. And that's just an example. These niches are there across fields, right? Then and then of course the bigger job boards. Identify your job boards, do the work required to get your profile up to speed, publish your work, your profile, put examples of your work, and actively bid. Look, because the employers come and they post. That's for people looking for gigs now. They post opportunities. You actually have to bid for this work. So bid, Don't just put the profile there and go away. Bid, keep competing. There will be a lot of rejection. Let me warn you, right? But it's part of the journey. All you need is 1 year to start with. Keep at it. As for applying for remote work, I mean, you apply the standard approaches I always say as to how to find work. Check the job description, match yourself to it when you're applying. Make sure you're using the words that they are using. Make sure you understand what it is that is required to be delivered and demonstrate how you have delivered it and will deliver it. Right. Generally, you have to hone your skills. Now, it may be that, oh, you're an accountant, you're used to doing financial analysis, but when you do the scan, is a particular type of financial analysis that is most in demand. If there's a need to build skill, and I always say, even if you already know it, right, because it's mostly the work is all done online, is remote. Remember, we're trying to build trust. Find one course. There are loads of free courses that can certify that you know this thing on LinkedIn, on Coursera, on Udemy, loads of free courses about specific skills. Just do it and put it there on your profile in addition to whatever qualifications you have. So it gives people a certain sense of comfort that at least this person has been through learning um, using one medium that we are familiar with. Am I saying that you have to be certified in anything to work online? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you can, the more things in your favor that you can check off in your favor, the better. Yeah. So that's how and the where. Of course, um, depending on your own specific path, right? There's a lot more context and detail that can be added. But for now, just on a generic level, I mean, for you to start exploring, that's the how and where. The next thing we want to consider is what skills do you need? So now I'm not talking about um, technical skills. I am talking about soft skills. So we've already covered technical skills. You will find out what technical skills, and that's what you will hone to sell. But in addition, it's not everybody that can succeed working remotely, right? You do have to have specific type of personal attributes to succeed working remotely. Now remember that all the work you're getting remotely is from people who are not in your country, who don't understand your context. So whilst when you're working face to face in your own community, you may be able to get away with some things. When you're offering service globally, not so much. The first big thing you have to succeed working remotely is results orientation and a strong sense of accountability. Whether you're working for gigs in particular, nobody is checking how much work you did. They're just checking against the deliverables. You have to know how to deliver. Now, to know how to deliver, you have to understand how to define and understand deliverables, right? So a customer can come and say, I want you to move a mountain in 2 days. You are the expert, you're experienced, you do it, you size it, and if you are the one who will know, is it realistic, is not realistic, is there a caveat, right? So that you talk to the client and people agree on clear, achievable deliverables. And then when you take them, you understand that you have to deliver. There's no but, there's no, maybe. You are used to, driving for results on your own. Very important. The other thing, yeah, and it ties into the next skill I wanted to mention, which is self-management, right? So results orientation, self-management, your ability, you are able, nobody is going to prompt you to do the work. There's no manager to check whether or not you are in line. You are your own manager. So you do have to have initiative and be able to work independently. Another third very important skill you must have strong communication skills, especially in writing. Because as you would have learned if you worked remotely during the pandemic, when you're working remotely, being able to communicate things in writing, often making your work process transparent, it is critical, right? your work process, your thinking process, you need to be able to put it down, put it down clearly and often so that everybody else who is working with you can, walk along with you and see what it is that you're doing. Very important, your writing skills. The other thing you need to be is you need to be comfortable, very comfortable with learning and using digital tools. And there's a wide range of different digital tools used, I mean, because you're working remotely, of course. There are tools used for project management, for video conferencing and meetings, productivity tools. So, for instance, for project management, you can use everything from your standard MS Project to Asana, apps like Asana, like Trello, like Miro, like what are the, if you are a product manager, a project manager, web developer, you can use things like Jira, whatever the um, project management software is, you need to be on top of it and know how to use it. That's one. For people in HR, for instance, you then need to get very comfortable with using different types of HRISs depending on what the client's environment is. You won't know all upfront, and you don't have to learn all upfront. But the skill you need to have is I can learn and unlearn quickly. I can learn to use digital tools and apps quickly. For video conferencing, people use everything from Zoom to go to meeting to Google Meets to last week. I mean, I have a lot of these things, installed on my laptop. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I one of my American clients brought another different video conferencing. And so I downloaded it and I used it, right? But I was like, how many video conferencing things am I going to have on my laptop? It happens, right? The other thing I want to mention is VoIP. Of course, you have to be very comfortable with MS Office, Google Doc Suite. That's a given, right? Then VoIP phones. So one thing I do with my clients, especially with my clients in America, is I have a local VoIP number that makes it easy for them to just call me as if they are calling a local number, right? Without them having to every time go to Zoom or Google Meet, they can, call me. By the time, I mean, if you have enough clients within a certain geographical location, it will make sense to do so. And these things are available. It's on my desktop. They're available online for a minimal fee monthly. Let's move to the next one. Then you need to, understand collaboration, virtual collaboration and teamwork. The paradigm is a bit different when you're working with, especially when if you have a remote job, your teammates can be anywhere, right, in the world. And you people will not all be at work at the same time, right? A lot of the communication can be asynchronous. I mean, you might have stand-up meetings where everybody has to be there, right? But for many teams, because they understand that people are in different places, you collaborate using collaboration tools, which I've mentioned, all them Asana and Slack and Trello and Co. But aside from that, there's the need for cultural sensitivity, right? And understanding diversity, being comfortable with working harmoniously with people from different cultures and getting rid of your biases, right? That's important. Also, in terms of how we communicate performance, some cultures use many words. I don't want to complicate this. So you have to when you start to work with a client or you join a new team virtually, the first thing I would say is first wait and observe their communication style and then mirror it. In some cultures, you say things as they are directly. Everything is transparent. In some other cultures, not so much, right? So you have to be sensitive to those things. Last but not least, and I will wind up with this, is especially for those of us in Nigeria, but everywhere in the world, your equipment, and your connectivity has to be tipped up. Get a laptop that will not, that has enough processing power not to die in the middle of a meeting, as an example. um get your backup power supply. I know this is a challenge for those of for people in Nigeria, power cuts. So your UPS, your gen, or your there's what's that other thing, your inverter, have your alternative power source. Also have your, I know internet can also be a challenge. I've actually seen on various fora, right, people in Nigeria complaining of losing opportunities because of internet issues. What I would say is find the at least three most reliable um, internet, and these are your work tools. It's an investment for work. So don't use a weak one. Get at least a MiFi, a strong one that a small office can use, right? Get a backup and a backup of the backup so that it doesn't hamper your ability to work, because time is of the essence and you do have to, stay in touch. You don't want, as much as possible, you don't want to keep showing up as the odd one out who's always having those issues, right? So, as much as it is within your power, take care of your equipment and your connectivity. All right. So, as I said, this was just an initial approach, just to share with you that the opportunities are there. Nigerians today in Nigeria and people in other countries as well are earning good livings, earning a good living from jobs and remote opportunities online, and you can too, regardless of what your field is. You just have to research and create your path. So here's what I will do. Because each there are different paths. I'm going to say, if you are interested in exploring your own path to finding remote work in more detail, send me a message. What I'd like to do is, if I have enough, if there's enough of a demand, then I would hold a 1 or 2 hour Zoom session where we explore this in greater detail. That is, actually look at the job boards, look at your skill set, and come up with a roadmap for you to activate your earning in dollars. But I will only do it if I get enough people, who are interested. So if you're interested, reach out to me with your question, with your interest, and we'll take it from there. All right. So that's it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching.